Hi there, it's Carol with Carolbcrafts. In this video, we'll be making this card box and 2 of the 4 cards that go inside. Now this will be project number 4 in my First Frost online class. And the First Frost bundle includes these stamps right here and these dies. Check out my website, cutstampcreateclub.com, to find out what current club kits I'm offering. Now if you don't have a club kit, don't worry, I'll give the supplies and dimensions as we go along so that you can make this adorable gift card set with us. Now the 4 cards and the decoration DSP on the back all came from a 6x12 sheet of DSP. Now this isn't the DSP that I used, but this will give you an idea of how I came about using the 6x12 so that you can get yours cut out perfectly. Now for the paper that goes behind the box, you're going to need to cut a piece from that part of your 6x12. And then there's a little piece here. It's actually the reverse. That is 1/4 inch. That's going to come from the part here where you cut that off. Then for the cards, you'll have these 2 pieces that will come from here. These are for the 2 of the cards. And then you'll need a 3-inch piece from this side for the other cards. That's this card right here. So you'll need 3x3. So you'll have plenty of room here to make this card if you cut your paper the way that I'm going to tell you to cut it. So this piece here is 5 3/8 inch wide. So what you would do is you'd cut your 6x12 at 5 3/8 right here, 5 3/8, and then with the quarter you're going to cut it at 5 1/4. No, 5 3/4. Sorry. So 5 3/8 this way, 5 3/4 that way, and that will leave you a 1/4 inch strip where you will cut, and that goes right here in the front. You could put a different piece of DSP there if you didn't want to use a DSP from your 6x12, but that piece is 3 3/4 by 1/4, and that's going to go there. So 3 3/4 by 1/4. These pieces here you would cut. These are 1 1/2 by 4 7/8. So you would cut 1 1/2, what's left, you would cut 1 1/2 and then 1 1/2, and then that would leave you plenty to get your 2 3x3 inch square pieces for the other 2 cards. So hopefully that you can understand that. So for the box project, you'll need a piece of thick Whisper White that is 8 1/4 by 5 5/8. You'll need your DSP, which I showed you how to cut, which was 5 3/8 by 5 3/4, and then the 3 3/4 by 1/4. You'll need an clear acetate box. You'll also need 2 pieces, 2 12-inch pieces of Pear Pizzazz shimmer ribbon. Now for the 2 note cards, you'll need 2 of the note cards and 2 envelopes. You'll need 2 pieces of soft seafoam cardstock, 3 3/8 by 4 7/8. You'll need 2 pieces of Pear Pizzazz cardstock, 4 1/4 by 3. You'll need 2 pieces of Whisper White cardstock, 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. You'll need your 2 pieces of DSP, 1 1/2 by 4 7/8. and you'll need a 9-inch piece of Whisper White 1/8 inch sheer ribbon. We're going to start out by making our box first. So you will need some tear and tape, and then later on you're going to need the Merry Merlot ink. Okay, we have our thick Whisper White 8 1/4 by 5 5/8, and it's in portrait mode. We're going to score at 3 3/4 and 5, and then we're going to flip it over to the other side to 4 3/8, and we're going to flip it back to the original side, and then we're going to turn it 1/4 turn. Our score lines are at the top, so we've turned it 1/4 turn counterclockwise. Now we're going to score it at 5/8, 1 1/4, 1 7/8, and 2 1/2. And we're done with our scoring. Now you'll see there's 12 little squares there. We're going to cut those squares out like this. And we're going to bring in our bone folder, and we're going to find our valleys. And we're going to fold away, increase those folds. So this will be for our pen right here. And then these we're going to crease. And that's going to turn under like that, and that will make our little insert. Now we're going to use some tear and tape to tape this down and tape this closed like that. So we're going to, where the V is, we're going to put a strip of tear and tape inside that V. I'm going to put it somewhat near the edge of this piece right here, and I'm going to burnish it with my bone folder, and then remove the tear and tape, and then shut it, and that makes the little space for our ink pen. And now I'm going to put some tear and tape along this edge. And now I'm just going to turn it, flip it around and make like a little box. Make it so that it's a little box. And that will be our insert. Now we have our DSP. And now we do need to score our DSP. So you want the 5 3/8 going across. It's almost a square, but you want the 5 3/8 going across. You're going to use your large ball on your, and gently, not very hard, just score a 1/2 inch, turn it around to the other side and score a 1/2 inch. So you have a 1/2 inch on both sides. And we'll take our bone folder, and we're going to crease those folds. And that's going to go, so our insert is going to go inside there. Now you can decide how you want to put that in. I'm going to use glue, because for me glue is a lot more forgiving, and it gives me a chance to move things around. So I'm going to put a dot of glue in each corner. So I want that corner to be held down really well. And I'm going to put some dots along the edges. Okay, I think that's enough to hold it down. And then I want I want this on the side, so I'm just going to slide that in the corner. Make sure the bottom is level with the DSP. And just press that down. And if it sticks over a little bit, you can trim it with your scissors if it's important to you. So that's our insert. And then we do have this little piece of 1/4 inch by 3 3/4 inch to just kind of put there, and to just kind of decorate that a little bit. I'm going to use glue to put that on. Just really small dots of glue. I'm going to center that. Now you could put a bigger piece of DSP if you wanted to cover that up better than just that little bit. I like the glue because I can move it around. Okay, so our insert is ready. So now we're ready for our acetate box, and we're going to just open that up. Crease it, get it open, and we're going to slide that in. Now down here you might need to help that to get past the that little flap that's down there, to get it all the way down in there like that. So that's our little case. I'll put a pen in there. So now we're ready to make our cards to go inside. So we're going to make 2 of these cards, and they're relatively simple. We will do some stamping, and we'll do that first, and we're going to need our Merry Merlot ink. So we have 2 pieces of 4 1/4 by 3 1/4 Whisper White. One will be for our sentiment, wishing you all the best, and one will be for our flowers. So we'll go ahead and do our sentiment first. Now we need 2 sentiments because we're doing 2 cards, so we'll do one up here and one down here. And we want to make sure we leave room to die cut our sentiment out. That's our center, and then this will be the frame. So we want to go ahead and make sure that we leave plenty of room. So I'll get my wishing you all the best stamp, and we'll figure that if I stamp it there, that will give me room to stamp another one and also to die cut that out. So we're going to stamp that in Merry Merlot ink. And now I'm just going to turn this around to the other side, just like this, and make sure my stamp is going to be in the center. Need to move this over just a little bit. There, now I'm ready to stamp again. Okay, so I have my 2 sentiments. Okay, I have my other piece of 4 1/4 by 3 1/4 piece of Whisper White, and now I'm going to stamp my 2 roses, the smaller one and the larger one. And I'll stamp the larger one here, and I'll stamp the smaller one next. I'll go ahead and get the stamp out. Again, we're going to use Merry Merlot. Now we want to make sure that we leave room around the edge for the die cut, and that's plenty of room there. So go ahead and ink up our stamp. And now I'm going to just kind of keep my finger here where the edge of the paper was. I'm going to rotate it to the other side. Oops, I got a little bit of ink there. Better clean off my thumb. And now I'm going to stamp my flower again. Okay, I'm done with my bigger rose. And now I'm going to stamp the small rose. I'm going to put that there, pick it up, ink it up. And now I'm going to again keep my finger, my thumb here where the paper is, and just flip it over, put it back in place, and now I'm ready to stamp my other rose. And we have our roses stamped. Now if you wanted to put something on the inside, you could stamp that now. I'm going to leave mine blank so that I can write a little note. Okay, so we're ready for die cutting. And we have our 2 pieces of Pear Pizzazz 4 1/4 by 3. We're going to cut 2 of these little leafy die cuts. We'll cut 2 of the outside rectangular die cuts here, and then we're going to die cut both of our sentiments with the smaller rectangular die cut, and then we're going to cut all 4 of our roses. So we'll put those through our Big Shot. Okay, so we have all our die cutting done. We have 2 of the Pear Pizzazz leaves. We have 2 of the Pear Pizzazz background rectangles for the sentiment. We have 2 of the sentiments, and we have 4 of the roses. So now we're ready to put our card together. And so we have our 2 card bases. We will find that valley and fold away. Make sure I have it right. I'm going to match up my corners here because sometimes they're not quite on the mark there. So match up my corners first, and then I will crease it with my bone folder. So there's one. Now we will do the other one. So we have our 2 card bases. Now on top of that, the card base is going to be our 3 3/8 by 4 7/8 soft sea foam. So we'll have that, and then we need to bring in our DSP. 1 1.5 by 4 7/8, and that's going to go about a 1/2 inch from the left edge of that soft sea foam. So we'll go ahead and put those together. So now we have our card fronts panels on. We're going to go ahead and put our sentiments on the background, the Pear Pizzazz background. So we have that. Now we're going to do the stem, and for the stem we don't need this top part, so we're going to trim that off. We're just going to cut it off right here like that, and you can see we have, this is the part that we're going to use, this part we don't need. So we'll go ahead and put our sentiments on, and it looks like it is about 1 inch. The top of this is about 1 inch from the top of the card. So we'll go ahead and put those on. Let me measure it here on the side. It's about 1 inch, and it looks like it's about 1/4 inch from the left edge. So right about there. So about 1 inch from the top, and about 1/4 inch from the edge, the left edge. Okay, so now we have these in place. We're going to put our flowers on with blue dots. The larger flower is going to be there, and the smaller flower is going to be just to the left of it. So we're going to also put on our stems. So that kind of gives us an idea where we want our stem, about right there. Now I'm going to get a pencil, and I'm going to mark with my pencil where the center where that stem ends and where this stem ends. That way I can kind of know where I'm going to put that stem once I have my glue dots on it. So I'm going to put my glue dots here and here on the leaf. Find my spots and just kind of put my stem where those dots are, and I can kind of erase that dot right there. This one I don't have to worry about because the flower is going to be over it. So now I'm going to put my flower on with some glue dots. Don't want that to go over the edge. Now I could have used mini dimensionals under here to give that a little dimension, but then it would have been harder for it to fit inside the card kit. And then I'll just put this one kind of right here. So now we have that card. Now I'm going to come over here, do the same thing, kind of figure out where I want this leaf to be, mark my stems, top and bottom, get some glue dots. Find my marks, put it in place. Now I'll put my flowers on. And I'm going to erase that little mark there. Now we're just ready for our bows. And I may have said you only needed one 9-inch piece of the 1/8 inch Whisper White, but you actually need 2. So you may need to cut another one. So you're just going to make some bows, and you're going to do that by pinching a little loop there in your finger and bringing this around your thumb and behind the loop and then through the loop that your thumb is in, and pull that loop through. And it helps if you don't let it twist, because it does like to twist. You get a nicer bow if you don't let it twist. So just pull and then tighten till you get it to the size that you want, and it's a relatively small bow, as you can see. And that's just going to go right there and this on the stem. We'll put that on with the glue dot. Trim our ends. And then we'll do the same for the other card. Okay, our little note card holder and our note cards are finished. Now we will be doing 2 more note cards in our next workshop, our next video, and we'll be doing 2 of these, so that altogether you'll have 4 cards to fit into your little note card box. These will make a great gift, or just something nice to have some little cards on hand. So your 4 cards are going to fit inside just like this, and get them in there, and they fit in really nicely. Now for the ribbon, we have our 12-inch 2 pieces of 12-inch, the Pear Pizzazz ribbon. We're going to go ahead and measure that. It's going to go up at the top here. And we're going to just kind of measure where we need to. I'll put it underneath slightly. That will tell me where to stop putting my tear and tape. Now I'm going to go ahead and trim this edge so that we have a nice angled edge that shows once we have this on. Now where I made my mark, I'm going to take my tear and tape and I'm going to put my tear and tape below that mark along the ribbon, just like that. And then I'm going to burnish it with my bone folder and remove it. So now I'm ready to wrap it around the box like this, and then just kind of meet it up together. So I have my ribbon that goes around it. Now I'm going to do my ribbon that goes in front. I'm going to slip it underneath here, and then I'm going to make a loop down here, bring this loop around and push it through where my index finger is and pull it tight like so. That looks about right. So I'm just going to trim those edges. That looks good. Now you can slide your bow over towards the side if you need to. Okay, our note card box collection is finished, and this would make a wonderful gift for someone. And you could switch out the colors, you could switch out the sentiments and make it birthday cards, thank you cards, get well cards. Anything would be nice to have on hand to send out in the mail. So stay tuned for the other project where we do the other 2 cards that go in here. And thanks for watching. Bye now.